Hey guys, welcome episode 19. Time for a short-range cross-country flight test. I've been practicing these short-range flights for some time now with some errors, but today I am aspiring to demonstrate to you that I can indeed execute a proper cross-country flight from Aqua Dulce, where we're currently at Lima 70, up to Apple Valley, up to the east. Short flight in about 30 minutes or so, doing a flight test to see if I can demonstrate proper procedures. So I hope you enjoy.
I'm passing through 500 Shamrock, 715.
715, 134.125.
Okie doke. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just enable a different overlay. Bloop, bloop. The flight test overlay. So that means that I will not look at the chat because I'm focusing primarily on my flying here. That's part of the flight test kind of setting until shutdown. And then I'll turn on the webcam again, and then we can do a review. And if you guys have any suggestions or stuff that you've noticed while I'm flying, also the guys who are now watching on YouTube, please comment and let me know to improve my flying. That's what this whole uncertified pilot channel is all about, learning from you guys and improving my flight skills. So that's going to be the idea. So I will not go through all of my procedures in a thinking out loud kind of flow like I do in the previous just general practice episodes, but this time I will just keep all the flows to myself, just as if you guys weren't there, so I can primarily focus on flying and demonstrate to you that I am able to do these short range flights. So that's kind of like the idea. Okay, hey Oscar, welcome aboard. So here I go. I hope you enjoy. And let's get started. Okie doke. Well, the first thing I'm going to do is switch to ForeFlight. So this is the flights that I have planned. We're currently at Aqua Dulce. So we're going to Palmdale. Make sure that we fly in between these mountain ranges. There's one here. And there's one there. So I plan to just go in between those, get a radial up to the VOR of Palmdale, the VORTAG, then up to the east, all the way down to Aples. That's a intersection there, until we reach Apple Valley. Well, we've got some PilotEdge visual reference points here, obviously Palmdale Airport, some other airports that we're going to fly in between, so El Mirage. We also got some power lines here that we can follow along in terms of PilotEdge. We've got a lake there, El Mirage Lake, so that's going to be a proper routing. Because of the terrain and other stuff that is going on here, we need to fly on a proper cruise altitude. So as you can see here, 5,200 is this mountain range, and also because we are flying to the east and probably above 3,000 feet AGL, we need to stick to the VFR altitudes. So odd pilots fly to the east, so that means odd numbers, so 5,500 or 7,500. Well, 5,500 could do. We will overfly the ATC Delta airspace here of Palmdale. We'll also then be able to cross over this mountain range with only a few hundred feet of elevation to spare. But when we move along and we cross over Victorville, what is this airport called? Victorville, I guess. Southern California Logistics. Okay. Well, this airport, then you can see that that ceiling of that airspace is at 5,400. So indeed, we can still fly at 5,500 and overcross it just fine. But if we just have a slight different altimeter setting, that would be trouble. So I guessed, let's fly a little bit higher up. Let's say 7,500. We can enjoy the view if the weather allows. And then we cross over at 7,500 Victorville until we reach Aples. And then we just do spirals down. We spiral down to traffic pattern altitude, left hand, runway 18, and land at Apple Valley. That's our flight. Let me see. Let me check the airport. So Aqua Dulce we already know is fine. Let's see what Apple Valley is all about. We've got a taxi diagram finally for the first time. So I'm mainly concerned with the runway length. Well, as you can see, 6,400 or 6,500. So that's plenty of runway length there to do our landing, but also more importantly to depart Apple Valley with a short field takeoff. So that's just fine. Can we see where the FBO is? Well, aviation fuel is there, no real FBO. It's an uncontrolled airport, so that's just fine. We could also check pattern altitudes. It's at 4,000 MSL, so at 1,000 altitude, 1,000 feet altitude, so that's good. 1 to 2.8 is the frequency. We don't have any METAR forecasts. Those are from Kilo Delta Alpha Golf. But I'm gonna look at the weather briefing soon, which also looking VFR. Some winds calm conditions, 7 knots at 270 winds. So this is looking like great flying weather. So that's good. Other stuff that we need to concern in terms of airspace is, well, only the particular Delta airspace that we're gonna overfly in terms of Palmdale and Southern California logistics. Or I will just refer to Victorville. Some MOAs are to the north that are all related to Edwards Air Force Base that we are not concerned with. Caution, unmanned aircraft system operations conducted in this area below 15 or 14,000 feet MSL. Well, these are not simulated here in PilotEdge or in Flight Simulator, but still. Most importantly, we are going to overfly a military airway, I noticed. You can see it right over here. This gray line coming from the left to the right. VR1257, VR1265. Well, because it's a 4-digit number, it means they're flying 1,500 feet, below 1,500 feet AGL. So if we're going to cross this range at 5,500, then chances are we could cross those military aircraft. So again, in future episodes, I will learn to ask for flight following to make sure that we don't fly in any military aircraft there. But now, just visual referencing, and we decided to fly at 7,500 to make sure that we are clear of terrain and airspaces. So that will be enough. But it's something that we need to keep a close eye on. Not bumping into military aircraft there. Well, we can see this magenta faded fuzzy line. This is just echo airspace. Isn't a concern to us because we're continuously flying in echo airspace. So that's just VFR minimums related. Not a big problem. Well, because we're going to fly an airway here, a Victor airway from Palmdale up to Aples, chances are that PilotEdge will generate or simulate a lot of drone aircraft on that airway with an 8 nautical mile bandwidth. So we need to be very careful not flying into other aircraft while we are flying, which will be quite fun to do. And that completes airspace stuff, I believe. Well, in terms of weather, let's have a quick look. Well, we can just first have a general look, just looking at the METARs. So, as you can see, green everywhere. The flight category depictions of airports surrounding our route, so that's great. So Palmdale, let me see what Palmdale is saying in terms of METARs. Boom, 320 at 5, Wimscom 10, statute miles, and clear skies, which is great. Next up, 090, 5 knots, 10 statute miles clears. Okay, so a lot of visibility, clear skies, and winds are calm. So this is just great flying weather. Victorville, 10 statute miles, no winds are calm, clear, which is just great. Well, a very local flight, this would be plenty or just enough for us to make our trip. It's going to be, let me see on top, 63 nautical miles and 12 gallons, 37 minutes with some headwind, 12 knots of headwind, which is just going to be fine. But well, just for completion, I will include this weather briefing too in my flight test. So let's have a quick look. Today's forecast, well, as you can see, South California, great weather, high pressure area nearby, suggesting that we have great flying weather. Move on. No precipitation forecast, so that looks good. Oh, sorry, I'm too enthusiastic. Too excited here. Yep, significant weather. Well, this is for this morning, Monday, February 15. We've got only moderate turbulence there, from surface up to 10,000, and again at 18 Zulu, which is in about 2 hours, still that same kind of forecast. So probably we've got some turbulence issues, like we had in the previous episode yesterday. Moving on. Let me see. Should turn that iPad feature off. We've got some IFR. This is for, let's see, in the right top corner, 15 Zulu. So that's in a few minutes. No, that's not true. That's like 2 hours ago. So we had some IFR IMC conditions to the north of us, and some fog. Not a concern to us. Then at 18 Zulu, you can see that IMC area here to the left has been quite smaller, but again, doesn't concern us, so looking good. No convective sigmats. These are the cloud ceilings. Well, we don't have any clouds, corresponds with the METARs that we just seen on the map, so that looks good. Satellites, confirming clear skies. Infrared, again, very clear. And then we see visibility. Well, we see some to the north, perhaps already touching on Aqua Dulce, but still plenty. And we're going to move further along to the east, so visibility isn't a problem. Let me see. Wind speeds. We've got this is at 3,000, not a lot, so that's good. Let me move on. Again, it's 6,000. It's going to be more near our cruising altitude. Not a lot of winds there, so that's good. Again, you can see that that headwind that ForeFlight has been calculating for us is correct. If we're going to fly to the east, so that's good. And this is at 9,000. You can see that the airspeeds are a bit more increased, to 20 knots or so. So that's fine. No turbulence or really big sigmat kind of level turbulence conditions. And here we can see the same. So that's just fine. No icing. And icing levels are in our area right now. Well, it's going to be the red, so that's going to be at 15,000. So no freezing levels that are a concern to us. This is at 15 Zulu, so that's 2 hours ago. And this is 18 Zulu, which is in an hour. So that's orange, so 13,000. Then we can expect freezing, but not a concern to us. So that's good. Finally, radar is looking fine too. So that completes the weather briefing. We got great weather to fly in. Very short hop from Aqua Dulce here all the way down to Apple Valley. It's going to be fun. Hey Stefan, welcome aboard. Peeking to my chat while I'm doing my weather briefing. Officially, I shouldn't and just focus on my flying. So please excuse me if I don't see your chats or comments while I'm flying, because this is a flight test. Okay, so that completes the weather briefing. Any other stuff that I need to be concerned with? Well, we've got fuel. ForeFlight's is saying on top 12 gallons, so we need to make sure that that's the case. So let's see if I can just very quickly turn on the batteries. Boop. We've got about 18 gallons in each tank, so that's fine. Although we need to make sure that we've got 8 gallons of reserve in case shit hits the fan and we need to do a diversion or something like that. But that's fine. So that will be like 8 gallons or so. So 20 gallons in total. Well, that's enough. We have enough fuel on board, so that's okay. Weight imbalance is no problem. Navigation log we already have here for flight, so we are ready to go. Didn't sign into PilotEdge, I just reminded myself of, so I need to remember that to do that here on my iPad. So then I can submit a flight plan on PilotEdge, even though it's a VFR flight plan, but I will skip that for the time being. So let's start. I'm gonna switch off my ForeFlight here, and I'm just gonna flow through the entire procedure here, just on my own. So I'm not gonna do anything. Not gonna think out loud here, but just going to follow through these checks in a more rapid flow. Okay, well, first we are in a hangar, so this is not a great spot here to. It's an awesome spot, but not a great spot to do our engine start, obviously. So first what I'm going to do is remove the pitot tube cover. There we go. And I'm going to... Oh, I should have used my Saitek panel here instead of using the mouse, so I'm going to do that now. Yeah. So parking brakes are released. Then I'm going to go outside. Bloop, bloop. Tow bar. Here we are. So I'm going to pull on my beautiful Skylane and get her outside. Make sure that wingtip. There we go. Again. Let me see what kind of direction we're going to. Perhaps we're going to go to that side and not the side. Yeah. So I'm gonna change the angle or the direction here of the airplane. Sure that this is got enough room here. What we have. So now pulling again. Very cute airport here, Echo Delce, ORBX scenery. So let's park our Skylane around here. Blastway is kind of clear. We're a little bit too narrow to. A little bit too nearby the taxiway. We need to allow others to join us, or allow them to pass this or use this taxiway without bumping into us. Or perhaps you can just park our Skylane over here. That direction. Okay, seems good enough to me. So tow bar done inside the cockpit. And let's turn on the parking brakes. Cool. So here we are. Yeah, this is a great spot. So moving on. Cold and dark check. So control wheel lock. Check, 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 check. That's checked. Trim checked. Check this all on standby. Check, 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 check. Okay, so cold and dark. Then we're gonna turn on the batteries and all the lights. Bloop, 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 bloop. And we're gonna go outside and have a look. Position lights are on. Are they also on the other side? Yeah, they are on. And strobe lights are on. Taxi light and landing lights are on. Beacon light is on. Position light is on. Stall warning. Finally, oh, that one. Pitot heat is warm. Checked. So off, 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 except for the beacon, and pitot heat is also off. Okay, that is checked. Avionics on, we hear a bleep. Standby, everything looks good. Flaps down, let's see if they come down in sync. There they go. Cool, let's do a flight control test. Left, right, up, down. Rudder is working too, so that's looking good. This looks good too. A non-shader panel. Let's see if that's working. They are working. This is all good, 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 good. And we've got enough gallons there. So avionics off, batteries off. Checked. So now we can do our walk around, exterior walk around. Click. Let's go. Baggage door. Closed. Tie down removed. Everything looks good here. Connected, connected, connected. Wiggle. Moving on. Wiggle, looks good. Connecting rod, everything looks good there too. Connected, 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 connected. Tie down removed. Fuel vent is clear. Wheel chucks removed. Fuel drain, good color, no contamination. In the wing, we've got real gallons on board, not just a proper gauge. Static air is clear. Drain at the nose, good color, no contamination. Let's check the propeller blades, no dents. This is simulated by A2A awesomely. Okay. Intakes look clear, air filter looks good. Oil, good color, enough quartz. Static air is clear. Enough gallons. Good color, no contamination. Wheel chucks removed. Tie down removed. Fuel vent is clear. Ailerons are all connected. And finally, flaps that wiggle works and everything is connected too. Awesome. So we have completed our walk around. Then we can start our before engine check. So I'm gonna turn on my gonna fasten my seat belts here, my office chair seat belts. I'm gonna switch to TrackIR again. Let me sync. Yeah, we're center. Door closed and locked. Okay, cool. We can do a very short briefing. Again, once more, so switching to ForeFlight, we are currently at Apple Valley. So I will depart from runway 22 because that's the same runway where the drones are flying here on PilotEdge. So let's stay in sync there. And as you can see, right pattern 22. So we're going to depart a right downwind and then we're going to fly up all the way to 7,500 feet. That's very important because we've got some terrain ahead. So maybe we got to do some spirals up until we reach that altitude until we can overfly that mountain range. I don't know. We just have to see. And then we're going to pick up a radial towards Palmdale. Then make a right turn, an outbound radial 081, all the way down, overflying Victorville there until we reach Aples, and then we spiral down to Apple Valley, and that's a left-hand downwind. Let me see, that's 18, right? Am I saying that correctly? Let's make a, oh yeah, I can already see it by ForeFlight. Yeah, so that's runway 18, you can see on top. And 18 is just a left pattern. So yeah, so here we can just align ourselves with a left downwind entry to 18. Okay, so that's our briefing. So what we're going to do here on the departure of Apple Valley, we are just going to taxi all the way down here to the left and then take off here down and do a right downwind departure. That's the idea. Okay, let's remove the parking brakes and check our brakes. Differential braking is working. That's good. Lights are all set. Yeah, the beacon is on. That's okay. And we can set our fuel tanks to both. We can open or should open our cowl flaps. And that means that we are all set. So we can start our engines. So batteries on. Throttle 1/4 inch open, hands on the mixture and hand on the fuel pump. Let me see. Thank you for following, Neiltron. Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Cut off. Fuel tank off. We've got everything set. Parking brakes is set. Let's make sure that there's no people flow around our airplane. Isn't the case. Clear prop. Wow, great start. 1200. Oil pressure is already rising, I can see. Generator on, avionics on. Okay, and battery is charging, that's good. Flaps up. Let's lean for ground operations. We are already quite high up, so leaning is very important here. So let's keep it there. Max RPM, reset to 1000, and allow our engine to warm up first. Cylinder head temperature is not there yet, and oil temperature isn't neither. Okay, we can turn our transponder on. Ready to fly. 1200 is good. Frequency here on Aquadelce, just sneaking there on for flight 1 to 2.8. That's good. As a standby frequency, well, let me just switch on so you guys can look with me. I'm gonna pause my TrackIR here. Let me see. 1 to 2.8, so that is set, and then we need to fly over to Palmdale, which has an ATIS at 118.275. Let me see, 118.2. Yeah, 27. Okay, so let's see if we can already pick that one up. Scratch pad, clear. Okay, let me see. No, we can't, because perhaps we're still in between these mountains and we don't get anything picked up. Let me see. So moving back here, maps. Okay, but we got that tuned in. ATIS. Well, we can tune in our COM2 or our COM1 standby to tower of Palmdale to make sure that we don't fly into other traffic, or we are aware of departing and arriving traffic. So that's tower 123.7. Let me see. 123.7. So that's tuned in. Then we're gonna fly all the way down. Well, we've got some private airports there, so they don't have any frequencies. Then we reach, that's our second ATIS, I guess, from Victorville, or Southern California Logistics. What a name. That's A, oh, we've got an ATIS. AWAS isn't simulated here, implemented in Flight Sim. ATIS 135.475. So that's going to be set on the COM2 standby. Let me see, 135.47. 47. Next up, our VOR. I'm going to make plenty of use of VOR here. So first Palmdale, it's 114.5. So let's switch to nav1 here on my Saitek panel. 114.5 is already set. And then we're going to fly an outbound radial to Palmdale, so we don't need any other VOR reading there. So that's good. We could already set the OBS to... well, we're going to fly inbound first, so that's going to be probably like something of 040, something like 040. So 040 already set, 040. Okay, and then when we go outbound from Palmdale, we're going to fly the 081, but we can reset while when we passed over Palmdale. So everything is set. Heading bug, we're going to depart here runway 22, so let's set that one. Okay, make sure that our heading indicator is cross-checked. It's now at 110. 110, so that's checked. Okay. And we need anything else? No, I don't think so. Okay, so I will turn on the outside temperature here, and we don't need anything else. Okay, just a sip of water. Engine is already starting to warm up. That's all good. TrackIR, sync please. Yeah. So here we are. Ooh. We see some traffic there, but it's looking adventurous. I think I saw a crash there. Anyway, we are ready to go. Let's move up to 22. Check our brakes, they are working. Have a look at our trim indicator, or our turn indicator and slip indicator. They are looking good. Turn indicator is also turning, so that's good. We don't need any crosswind or soft wheel correction. So here we go. I love this airport. Have a look, guys. Aqua Dulce. Let's wave to them. Hey guys. Uncertified pilot here. Let's stick on that taxi lane. Already make sure we can already try to make a visual or visualization of what the traffic is doing here on Aqua Dulce. Well, there's a right pattern flying here of 2 airplanes, I guess, a Baron, Beechcraft, and some other airplane. So there is one in the distance, seems to be parked there. Oh, there's another one here. Yeah, it's parked in the air. Yeah, that's a bummer. It's a bummer that all these airplane or drone airplane activity is recorded in X-plane, and we're currently flying in prepared, and apparently X-plane's terrain elevations and prepared's airport or terrain elevations don't correlate. So then you got these very unrealistic, weird stuff going on. And we can set our altimeter. We don't have any ADIS, but we can set our altimeter to the airport elevation of Aqua Dulce. I'm looking at my ForeFlight here. It is 2,660. 2,660. So about there. So that would give us a realistic altimeter reading. You can see our airspeed indication there. Which is much higher than our actual ground speed, I guess. So that means that we've got a headwind here, and when we depart, a tailwind. But winds are calm, so I guess that's fine. Coming up to the beginning of the runway. So looking for a run-up area here. Guess I'll move on a bit up to the end. Turn our way around. So our briefing, right hand downwind departure. We keep our climb up to 7,500. So we can clear that terrain ahead of us, and we're gonna catch the 040 radial up to Palmdale VOR. That's the idea. So here we are at the threshold. I'm just gonna park, I guess, a little bit here. There's no run-up area. Well, all the other traffic is just flying above us or taxiing above us. Well, let's park it over here. It's fine. Look at that. Magic trick. Parking brakes are set. We keep our engine lean because we're at a, well, kind of like a density altitude here. So that's just prevent fouling our plugs. Let's look at our engine. It's in the green. Cylinder head temperature in the green, and our oil temperature is just in the green, so that's good. Close our windows to make sure we don't have any dust and other stuff in our cockpit when we do our power check. Parking brakes are set, fuel tanks are to both, cowl flaps are open, we are all set. So let's do a 1800 test here. There we go. I can hear the engine being a little bit rough, so I'm expecting fouled plugs. 1800, let's do a Mac test. Left, look good. Both right, looks good too, so no problems at all. Cycle, the prop, it's looking good. You can hear it too. Let's look at the manifold pressure. Small rise, it's looking good too. And finally the oil pressure, a dip but then stabilizes. Yeah, that's looking good too. Then landing lights on to see if we see that the generator is working. Yeah, small dip in the ammeter there, so that's working too. Don't have any annunciator messages here. Everything looks stable. So full idle. See if the engine doesn't quit on us. Oil pressure still good. No annunciator messages. we are all set. So back to 1,000. Again, I will keep the engine leaned here because we are on airport elevation a little bit more ridged, just to make sure. Landing light on, strobe light on. We don't need any flaps. We're properly trimmed. We are on frequency, and this is all drone stuff going on. We can see a helicopter over there. Is there anyone in the pattern here? Well, I'm just gonna make a 360 to make sure no one is on base or on downwind or a drone. No, and that one has just departed, so let's do that too. Aqua Delce traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango India Mike is departing runway 22 for a right downwind departure to the east. Aqua Delce. So there we go. Very fuzzy arrows here because of my lower settings. We are aligned with the center line. Everything looks good in the green. Oh, my transponder I should set to altitude. Forgot about that. So here we go. Slowly advancing the throttle here, trying to stay on center line. Engine looks good, airspeed's alive, engine is in the green. 50, 60, and rotates. Keeping that right rudder. Getting to VY, a little bit gusty winds there, I noticed. Or perhaps some wake turbulence. There we go. So at around 3,300 we're going to make our right turn. Make sure that there's no one else flying to the right except for that guy in front of us. We're going to heading up 2-4. Ah, we've got some gyro drift going on. Let's make our turn. That's why you should always check your heading indicator while you're centered on the runway, which I only did when we took off. So there we go, engine looks good still in the green. Continue our turn. And I just continue my climb anyway. So we're now currently on base. Aqua Delta traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, and Mike is turning right downwind runway 22 for a departure to the east. We're going to climb up all the way to 7,500. Aqua Delta. Okay, so the heading bug is coming up. Beautiful scenery here by ORBX. You can see it's looking cool. There we are on downwind. You can see the terrain in front of us. Just keep in full power here and also right rudder. So at around 1,000 feet per minute we'll be up on our cruising altitude in a few minutes. That's good. Engine is still in the green, it's warming up. You can see the cylinder head temperature is rising, so perhaps we should just lean our engine a bit to cool it down. Don't want an overheated engine. So I'm just pushing in the mixture a bit. Airspeed is looking good. Landing lights just still keep on. Also the cowl flaps are still open because we're in a full power setting. Already trying to catch that radial. So as you can see we're on to the left of that radial, and I would like to fly just in between that mountain ridge. So let's keep this angle, and then the OBS should creep in. But the biggest concern to us right now is altitude. We need to clear that terrain in front of us, because over that terrain, let me flip to 4-flight, you can see already Palmdale. There's an airspace there with a ceiling of 5,000. You can see the 50 in that box there, blue box, just above the airport. So we need to overfly that. PilotEdge is currently live, so that's fun. We might tune into to the tower soon. Good flying weather. You can see some visibility issues. I can see Palmdale somewhere in the front of us. Look at this climb rate of the Skylane. It's a great airplane. Powerhouse. OBS is very slowly creeping in. I'm gonna catch it 040 radial inbound. Now I'm gonna switch off my landing lights. Not really practical now to have that. There's some. Whoa, there was military aircraft just flying underneath us. Let me see if I can show you guys. Perhaps it will fly to the right here. It went pretty fast. Well, you should rewatch on YouTube, I guess. Okay, 7,000. Look at this climb rate. OBS is coming in. We're reaching our cruise altitude. So what I'm going to do, cylinder temperature is still nice. Switch off the ForeFlight. There we are. So I'm gonna push in on the yoke. You can see Palmdale there to the left. The OBS is coming in. So now I'm gonna reduce my manifold to, let's say, 18. There we are. Push on that yoke. Okay, allow the airspeed to increase. I'm gonna reset my RPM to about 2100. Sounds much better. I'm gonna release my rudder correction. Looking good. Let's lean because our EGT is quite low. Let's see if we can bump it up. OBS, we've got almost a 040 radial. We already have a visual reference of Palmdale, so we can just fly directly towards it, but still, it's fun to catch a radial. EGT is now rising, as you can see, while we are leaning. Quite leaned. Perhaps a little bit too much, I don't know. So now when we've got our engine set, we can now start to trim. So I'm really pushing on that yoke, so I'm now doing forward nose down trim. Yeah, there we are. A little bit too much. Look at that. Just listen to that engine sound. Very relaxed. We've got our engine nicely trimmed. Okay, so now we can close our cowl flaps because enough wind is just coming into the Skylane while we are flying, so we don't need extra cooling. EGT is nicely high up. Engine is looking in the green. Awesome. So let's tune into the COM 2. That's ATIS of Palmdale. Let me switch to ForeFlight so you guys can follow me along. Let's see if I can write it down in one turn. Let's pause TrackIR for a bit here. Need a little bit more nose down. Yep, there we are. Okay, so let's see if we can pick up ATIS.
Kilo, Papa, Mike, Delta, automated weather observation. 1725 Zulu. Wind 027 at 6. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky condition 7,200 scattered. Temperature 12 Celsius. Dew point -3 Celsius. Altimeter 3039er. Kilo, Papa, Mike, Delta, automated weather observation. 172.
Okay, so scattered 7,200. Well, I don't see any ceiling right now. Let me check. No, I don't see anything. So it doesn't really matter. Good speed. I guess we're gonna cross over Palmdale in just a sec. You can see here the DME. So 4.6 miles. So we still need to go a little bit more ahead while the OBS is getting unstable. So we can just keep our heading here. Palmdale is just beneath us. So we can prepare for our next leg. So let's see. There's ForeFlight again. Sorry, need to turn off TrackIR. So outbound 081, right? 081 from Palmdale. Nicely trimmed, by the way. So let's reset 081. to the bottom of R, like Keith Smith helped us, 081, because then we have an outbound, right? 081. Cool, and we'll just have a look. The DME, 2.8, 2.7, so still Palmdale is beneath us. Looking at engine, good engine management is so important. Ah, there's Palmdale. There are the runways. Very nice flying weather car. Oh, there's the ceiling. Okay, cool. But it corresponds with our weather briefing, so it's looking good. Did we tune in the altimeter? I guess not. It was 3039. Well, we were close, using the airport elevation of Aqua Dulce. 1614 DME, so let's make our turn. Let's intercept. 1145, yeah, that's correct, right? Yeah. Gonna descend, so I'm pulling on that yoke a bit. Let me see. A little bit more to the right. I guess that OBS will be quite sensitive. So our cruise heading would be 081, so we'll put it over there. So I'm just flying a little bit more to the south to catch that radial. Now, we're currently on an airway, as you can see. Let me pause TrackIR because it might be a little bit more confusing. There we are. So that's that blue line, right? 081, as you can see. Does it have a name? I don't know if it has a name, that airway. But because it's an airway, chances are that PilotEdge is simulating other airplanes flying on that airway too. Makes sense, right? We're not the only ones here. So we need to be very sure that we're not flying into any other airplanes. I'm suddenly reminding myself whether we need to fly to the north bit of that 081 heading. Because I would have expected, because we're that close at Palmdale, that the OBS was already centered. So what I'm going to do is just a little bit of an experiment. It doesn't really matter that much. So I'm going to make a turn to the left. Let me turn on my TrackIR to make sure that there's no other because we set our no, we're headed to a 2 reading on the VOR. Let's see what happens here on 4 flight. I don't see any airspaces or here that we need to be very concerned of. There's a Butchhorn MOA to the north, but it's far away. Oh yeah, I suddenly know what I'm doing wrong. 025. 025. 025. I forgot about the gyro drift, guys. Now we are in sync. Oh, there was radial. Oop. Wasn't that big of a drift. So let's catch that radial. How far do we need to go? Oh, we're now heading away from, obviously, from Palmdale. So let's use 4 flight to have an estimation of how far away Aples is. So there we go. As you can see, the OBS is now creeping in. So now we need to fly the opposite direction as you would. Okay, let's make that turn again. No traffic in sight. This is about right. Good, we've catched the radial 081. Awesome. Still we are in sync. We are in sync. So this is a general estimate, this radial. We don't need to be that panicky about catching it. It just gives us a very good estimation what we are doing. This airway is actually 8 nautical mile bandwidth, so 4 nautical miles to the left and 4 nautical miles to the right of us. It's actually a separate airspace, so we can fly whatever. It's just a general estimate. I guess in IMC or in IFR conditions it makes more sense to fly those headings or any instructions very carefully or precisely. Good engine management, high up EGT. Look at that, guys. It's looking good. Our Skyling is really enjoying itself. You can already hear it, right? More and more when I'm flying here, I'm kind of using a metaphor for engine management, which is actually that you can almost view your airplane as an animal, or as a human being for that matter. I mean, it needs to be cooled, it needs to run smoothly, as if you were preparing or running a marathon or so, right? So cowl flaps is just opening your jacket, right? And the sound of the engine is something like the sound of your breathing, right? It shouldn't be like you're hyperventilating or, well, I don't know, it makes sense to me to use that metaphor. And guys, if you spot anything that I'm doing wrong or any suggestions you have to improve my flying on whatever level, please hold on to them or post them. Put them on the chat so I can review after shutdown. Then I will turn on the webcam again and we can talk about whether I passed this flight test or not. So catching the radial again. In front of us I can see some airports. We've got some great visibility here. So PilotEdge is getting very, very easy. So you can see an airport here, airport there. So let me pause TrackIR for a moment. Let's switch to 4 flights. What are those airports? You guessed it. So again, we are using visual reference points here to make sure that we are heading the right direction. Even though we've got a radial, it's always good to combine stuff. So that's good. Again, no other traffic in sight. We can use this EGT needle to have a reference point here. Greatly trimmed. I mean, this is the real autopilot, guys. Just trimming. I mean, this is a lot more fun than just tuning in an autopilot, an altitude, and then just watch the airplane fly itself. I think this is much more fun, much more classic, much more vintage. But hey, that's me. Gallons are sipping away, but because of our calculations, we should be good. We need to refuel though on Apple Valley. So in case we've got a fuel problem, we've got some airports here that we can fly to. Let's get that ATIS. Turn off TrackIR here. Of Southern California logistics that we already set. It was 13445. So yeah, let me switch COM2. Let's have a listen. It's not picking up anything. 135.475. I guess 47 then does it, right? Or should I?
Kilo, Papa, Mike, Delta, automated weather observation.
Yeah, I know. Let me see.
Wind
135.
027 at 6. Visibility greater than 20 miles. Sky conditions.
Weird that it doesn't swap.
Scattered.
Yeah, I know. Okay, so apparently Southern California ATIS doesn't catch. Well, doesn't matter. So what we're going to do is we're currently flying at 7,500. That's good. So we're flying around, I guess, here. To the left of us, I can see that airport. I guess it is. Do we see a lake on top of it? El Mirage Lake. I guess that's that white area there. Completely salted or something like that. Yeah, it has the same kind of shape that we see on ForeFlight, so it must be that. Then in front of us we will fly over the Victorville or Southern California Logistics Airport at 5,400. We're currently at 7,500, so we're doing good. Until we pass it, and then around Appleville or Aples we make a turn to the north and then spiral down to traffic pattern altitude, which is going to be 4,000 feet, as you can see in Apple Valley, for the left-hand 1/8 full stop. $180 feet too high. Let's trim a bit. Very small adjustment to the nose down. Let's see if that does it. Good engine management still. Everything looks in the green. Everything is in the green. See some stuff being generated in the front of us. Well, guess what that is? Victorville. Well, Victorville is just the VOR, but Southern California Logistics is a very weird name, so I'm not going to use that. Still, we've got some nose up. Let's a little bit more nose down. But we're heading in the right direction, guys. It's looking good. Well, that's a little bit too much nose down, but I guess now our airspeed will increase and it will fix itself. Whoa! Updraft. Beautiful flying weather. Let's have a look. Some puffs there. I mean, that's the big advantage of flying here to the north of California. It's always good flying weather. That's why I love Palm Springs, actually. That was the first ORBX region that I bought. ORBX also developed Palm Springs. Real Vincent, thank you for following. Real Vincent. So I love the Palm Springs region, but it's not compatible yet with version 3 of Prepared, so I'm really looking forward to a new release, updated release by ORBX. And when I started with PilotEdge, I was flying on within the Palm Springs area, and again, always good flying weather, very nice scenery, so I'm hoping that very, very soon ORBX will release that Palm Springs area, because we're quite nearby. Palm Springs is over there, behind those hills. Or hills, mountains. Let's look at that gyro drift again. 072? 072. Checked, good. Fuel flow, manifold still in the green. Our cylinder head is in the green. Oil temperature is in the green. Pressure is in the green. Everything is in the green. I'm in the green. We're all in the green. What a green reality we are in. Nicely on altitude. No other traffic nearby, so I guess this airway isn't that congested here in the PilotEdge area. What we can already do is tune into tower, just to have a listen to Victorville here. Let's see, it's 118.35. Come on, 118. Oh, 118.35. Heh, 118.35. And then we can already set Appleville 1 to 2.8. It's already set. Okay. So let's see if there's any PilotEdge activity currently that we can listen to. So we're currently overflying here the Southern California logistics area, ceiling of 5,400. So we're very much overflying it, which is good. And we're gonna fly to Aples and then go a little bit up north and spiral down to enter the left downwind runway 18 full stop.
Horizon 952, contact tower 119.7.
Got some chatter.
Santa Barbara Tower is an F2 with the emergency visual 25.
Horizon 952, Santa Barbara Tower, wind calm runway 25, clear to land.
Clear to land runway 25, Horizon.
The sound volume is quite low at my end. Guys, let me know if the sound volume at your end is sufficient for the PilotEdge ATC chatter. Because then I need to tune that up a bit for the next episode. There's the airport, Southern California Logistics, Kilo Victor Charlie Victor. Love this Southern California region. Scenery by ORBX. Now let me see if we can spot Appleville. Yep, I can already see it. It's over there. Well, that's the great advantage of
Number 2170.
visibility. Having a visibility.
Skyhawk 217, go ahead.
Oh, this sound volume is much too low at my end.
Airspace without clearance. And due to the serious nature of that deviation, I recommend trying our pilot training program. You can access that from the Pilot Center link on the PilotEdge homepage.
And guys, once more,
Sir,
this is a flight test, so other than usual, I'm not. I don't have any chat here that I can look at because I need to focus on my. I like to focus on my flying. But as soon as we did our shutdown, I will turn on the chat and my webcam, and I can see your comments, and we can chat about how I did and whether you think I passed for this flight test. I see some traffic.
Number 221 Alpha Papa, contact SoCal approach 125.2.
Again, in my future episodes, I will ask for flight following.
Horizon 952.
Also to have a more interactive kind of
We have
flight
links with runway
chatting
and
with
power.
PilotEdge. Just up to now, I
Horizon
haven't
952,
used
yeah,
PilotEdge
it's
at all,
again,
other than enjoying drone
Horizon 952,
traffic.
right turn at Foxtrot, contact ground 0.7.
Alright, ground 121.7. The right turn at Foxtrot, Horizon 2.
There should be another airport, by the way. If I look here at ForeFlight, you can see a private airport, Osborne. It should be just in front of it. And there it is.
Las Vegas ground trip, please notify Tampa restart.
Already see that ORBX also put attention to creating some hangars there.
Send over ground Horizon
447,
952
crossway,
for
got
Foxtrot.
Awesome.
Las Vegas altimeter 3018.
Oh, sorry, wrong button. Yeah, switch that one off.
JetBlue 447, just
Wrong switch, I meant.
12,000, Las Vegas altimeter.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to prepare for our landing. Let's see if we would already pass the airspace here. As you can see, the airspace of Victorville, as I call it, stops just behind Osborne. So where's Osborne? It's over there. So we just keep on flying a bit, and then we're free to descend because the airspace is still beneath us. So we can then already start our descent.
JetBlue 447.
Going to switch radios to CTAF. So goodbye chatter. Going to turn this one off. Let's make an announcement here. Thinking first what I'm going to say before I'm going to say it. That's a great tip. Yeah, 1 to 2.8. That's the right frequency, right? Yeah, it is. Apple Valley traffic, Skyline Pop Hotel Tango India Mike is about 5 miles west of the airport at 7,000. We're descending, aiming to enter the left downwind runway 18 for a full stop. We're going to spiral down to the east of the airport, Apple Valley. Something like that. So, gonna get a descent going. We've got a lot of G airspace here, so we're completely free to do whatever while we are looking for traffic. I mean, as you can see, as you probably saw on ForeFlight, there's a Aples is a great intersection, a very congested intersection of airways. So chances are, perhaps that a little bit to the right of us, we might spot traffic. So here we go. Don't know if it's okay when I do my descent if I can put my manifold pressure outside of the greens, because it's now much lower, but here we go, get a descent going. There is Apple Valley, see some hangars, runway 18, so let's set our heading block to 18 as a reference point. So it's a left hand, so that means that downwind is going this way. So I'm going to make a right spiral to enter that downwind. Sure that we don't hit that terrain in front of us. Apple Valley is at 3,000 feet, so our traffic pattern altitude is at 4,000. Need to be very sure that there's no other drone traffic flying there that's making use of other runways, because then we would need to change our landing runway. I'm going to turn on my landing lights because we're now getting near the traffic area. Engine is looking good. Obviously cylinder head temperature is now getting a bit lower. Flying a little bit more to the east. Let's start with our turn. No other traffic around. Keep that descent going. Descending pretty fast. Standard rate turn would be fine. Watch that airspeed now. Oh, keep that descent going, Tim. 4,000 is our target altitude. Watch that terrain below us. So far, so good. We're 46 miles away from Palmdale. There's Apple Valley again. No other traffic in sight. Still descending. A little bit more power. Because we're on a density altitude here, I keep my engine lean. Perhaps a little bit less leaned. A little bit rich of peak. And there we are. So now we're going to enter with a 45-degree angle. Apple Valley traffic, Skyline Pop Hotel Tango India Mike is entering the 45 left downwind runway 18 for a full stop, Apple Valley. Beautiful. Now we're very fast, so I guess I can already put in one notch of flaps. Make sure there's no one left of us. There we are, traffic pattern altitude. Push up, and there goes our airspeed. Good. One notch of flaps. Push down on that yoke a bit. Let's reset our trim to... Whoa, it's very much high up. Set that back to... That's good. Apple Valley traffic, Skyline Pop Hotel Tango India Mike is entered left downwind runway 18 full stop, Apple Valley. There we are. Keep that 90 knot airspeed. We're a little bit close to the runway. Well, that's not too bad. Oh, trees and other stuff. Can you see, guys? Oh, nice. Not climb, Tim. Keep on that altitude. On the downwind. So far, so good. Turn in my prop that I didn't do yet. What's our trim doing? Is set. Fuel tanks both. Well, we keep our engine leaned because we're high up. Oh, I'm not really on a good heading. Although I am flying to the north. Well, we are set to the north, but Start our descent already a bit. It's going to be a sharp turn, so I guess we're not going to fly a real base leg here. This is fine. Apple Valley traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, India Mike is turning left base, runway 18 full stop, Apple Valley. There we go. 1 notch of flaps. Keep that descent going, but also my turn, and this is why I love TrackIR. There it goes. Ease off that turn. 2 whites. Is this a Pappy or a Vazi, guys? Okay, let me go. Good airspeed. Very nice. Need to slow down to 65. We can use full flaps, not a real big crosswind component. Oh, look at that airport. I'm very curious to see what the FBO on the ramp looks like. Gyrohead, thank you, man. Thank you for donating. Gonna thank you soon when I turn on my webcam. Thank you so much. That's so encouraging. And helps me to get all the way over to the US and perhaps meet you at Flight SimCon 2016. Gonna meet all the developers. Full flaps. Well, guys, the answer is it's a Vazi. Okay, let's focus. Wow, what a large, big runway. Crabbed into the wind, so that's not going to be good for our undercarriage. Should have corrected for that. And now I need to go a little bit to the right. Yeah, I wasn't paying attention at all. Flaps up. This is going to be a great airport, by the way, to practice crosswind landings, guys. Let me see if I can step on the brakes here. Yeah, there we are. Just going to cheat a bit and turn all the way around. There we go. Apple Valley traffic, Skyline Papa Hotel Tango, and your mic is clear, runway 18, Apple Valley. There we go. Let's get behind the threshold line with our entire plane. There we are. Parking brakes are set. Let's set to 1000 to keep our engine warm. Think about the marathon metaphor, guys. If you're warm and you just run a marathon, don't stop instantly, but just jog first. Same kind of idea. Transponder set to on. We can open a window because that's cool. Makes us look cool. Landing lights off, strobe lights off, cowl flaps. We can open. We are lean for ground operations, and we are set. Yeah, we are set. So let's go. Parking brakes released. Well, let's taxi all the way back to the FBO because I'm very curious to see what it looks like. Man, a donation! Awesome. Okay, here we go. So guys, especially for you guys who have been on board all the time this episode, consider whether you think I have passed this flight test, this short range hop from one uncontrolled airport to the next. Obviously in future episodes it's going to be much more complex. We're going to visit controlled airspaces and do long haul flights in bad weather conditions. So this is just the basics. I'm just learning to fly here. That's part of the Uncertified Pilot channel. But just considering this particular flight, what do you think? Did I pass or did I fail? Think about it, vote, let me know on the chat. And once I do my shutdown, I will turn on the webcam and I'll give you guys my full attention. Let me see. So there's an FBO there. You can see a lot of airplanes. I hope that there's also some people flow there. So let's visit that spot. .49-minute flight. Okay, so here we are. Let's track some kind of a taxi line here. I don't know where it is. I guess at the end. Some palm trees, a Cessna, some cars, helicopter. Let me just taxi a little bit further along to see what was behind that hangar. I don't know if there's anything interesting going on there, but just have a look and we'll make a 180. I mean, for me, this is also the first time when I visited Apple Valley here with this ORBX scenery, so I'm just curious to see what is going on. I can see some I don't know what those are. Oh, that's the Papi from the other runway, obviously. Yeah, okay. Ah, some other aircraft, but that's about it. Well, we're not part of those big birds. I mean, guys, imagine if I keep this up. Finally, I will get my instrument rating in Flight Sim based on PilotEdge's I ratings, and then we're gonna move up to twin-engine airplanes. Imagine flying jets using this level of realism. It's gonna be awesome. Okay, so turning back. Here we go. Well, some guys of you have already mailed me, PM'd me on Twitter and whatever that the windsocks are disabled because of ORBX's Southern California region scenery. Somehow that messes up the animated windsocks. Just using the Palm Springs region by ORBX, it worked just fine. But apparently in a region, those windsocks are disabled and they look just silly, which is very frustrating because in some airports, especially uncontrolled airports, we don't have any ADAS, and so I don't have any really need to guess the ground winds, surface winds. Okay, where are we going to park? We're going to park next to that Cessna. So let's make a turn to the right here. Okay, let's focus. Not going too quick. Good taxiing. For the story by a CFI, a certified flight instructor, saying that he could already predict with very high reliability whether a student would pass on his check ride just basing on how carefully he was taxiing. I like that thought. It's I guess kind of proof that you're caring about the little things too, and that makes a good pilot. Also a good simmer. So here we go. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Rolling out, line and our bang. There we are. Are we aligned? We are perfectly aligned. That's our sister, I guess. Our 152. Parking brakes are set. Transponder can be set to standby for 53 minutes for the logbook. Let's turn off the avionics. Mac check quickly. Yep, it's working. Cut off. Yeah, switch to off. Batteries are off. Let me see what I'm pressing here. Yeah, generator is off. Fuel tanks can be set to the left to prevent cross-feeding. We can close the cowl flaps so that other birds and stuff can go in. We'll keep our windows opened. Push in the yoke control wheel lock. We can open the door and say hi to Apple Valley. We can release our seat belts. And because we're on the ramp, we can put on our pitot tube cover and our wheel chocks. And let's put our... Do we have tie-down spots? I guess we have. So tie-down spots are on. Are they on? Yeah, they're on. I guess not really at the right spot. Perhaps these are medium-sized airplane parking spots, but well, it doesn't matter. Tie-downs we have. And that completes the flight, I guess. Yeah, I guess so. Guys, let me see. Can we switch the stream here? Bum! Did I pass? Or did I fail? What do you think, guys? Let's get the chat going here. Let me see. Put it here, invisible. Ah. Let me go back a bit and just browse through what all the stuff that you have been talking about. Supposed to unicom to taxi neutron, and was he not supposed to unicom his taxi intentions? Well, there are some discussions there whether you should announce your taxi instructions. I think it's just you just need to use your common sense. So if it's very congested on the CTAF, then a taxi instruction isn't that useful, I guess. It's only useful for perhaps pilots that are arriving and are 10 nautical miles ahead and they're just inbound, and then you can let them know that you are there. Still, I also see some real-world pilots and see if I say on YouTube, no, don't. Just announce when you're about to depart. Still, chances are that arriving airplanes that are coming in would also do their announcements 10 nautical miles ahead or 5 miles ahead. So you have plenty of time to incorporate any other traffic that is nearby, so you can ensure that you're clear of traffic. So personally, I don't. But I see other pilots do make those traffic taxi announcements, but I'm not doing that. Yep, let me go back then. Natron, I'm using P3D. ORBX, thank you, Stefan, for letting me know. A2A, yeah, A2A, just curious. Who's been instructing? No instructor. This is all just self-study. So I'm just using resources that are readily available on YouTube and on all kinds of forums and websites online. YouTube is the great resource there, and structured a flight training program that makes sense to me. I've also made a student checklist. I mentioned a lot of time, I guess too many times before in episodes, but made my own student pilot checklist for the A2A Cessna 182, which covers many more items that you should actually go through, but are not usually part of a checklist because these are just memorized items. But it's very helpful also as an assignment to me, as homework, just to get a sense of why those items are there. It's a very good assignment and exercise to get to know your airplane. So free download on uncertifiedpilot.com if you're interested. Gyro, oh yeah, 360 to check for traffic. Okay, that's new to me. Yeah, Natron, I saw that in another YouTube, and it makes sense to make a 360 after the run-up to make, and I have a visual reference of what's going on in the traffic pattern. Gyro drift, yeah, I know. I noticed the gyro drift when I just took off from Aqua Dulce, but I forgot about fixing it. So only when I was far ahead, trying to catch that radial from Palmdale to the east, I reminded myself, oh my gosh, there's still that gyro drift that I didn't correct for. So yeah, but it didn't really solve the problem. One error that I found or already fixed or learned about while I was flying was that if you fly an outbound radial, the OBS, you should fly not towards it, but away from it to get it to the center. But we figured that out just fine, also because of good preparation, flight planning. So to me, that isn't a big error at all, and doesn't make me fail this flight test, at least in my opinion. Let me see. Yeah, you guys were suggesting to me. Read the chat. You should review the moment before takeoff when you check. You already did. Let me see. As a real world pilot, equipment. Yeah, so once I start with my season 2 of this flight training, season 1 is primarily private pilot based, so VFR based. What I'm going to do is then start with my IFR training, all integrated or based on PilotEdge's V and I ratings. So in season 2, I'm going to start with my IFR flying, and in that case, I will integrate the GTN 750 GPS system by Garmin into this Skylane. I've already bought it, but I didn't implement it or enable it here in my Skylane because I really like to learn how to fly just by old classic style mental skills. So once I start my IFR, I guess I will enable it because I need it for vectors and all kinds of other stuff. And it's also good practice just to learn how to use a GPS in a proper way. But still, I will need to. I think I need to develop those real world PilotEdge visual mental navigation skills first before I rely entirely on my GPS and just become a zombie and just programming in my flight planning and not have any idea what I'm doing. So that's the idea. So as soon as I'm going to start with my IFR training, Season 2, I will enable a GTN 5 and get a much more upgraded Skyline and use that for my future flights. So that's the idea in terms of equipment. Stefan, altitude entry should be 4500, which is 1500 AGL, then 1000 AGL in the pattern. Okay, I didn't know. I just thought that you should enter at 1000 AGL in the pattern. But I guess I overflew Apple Valley here much higher up, which makes sense. They made that teardrop and then entered the traffic pattern. Some internet connection losses. Oh, I'm hoping that Twitch, I also noticed that in the previous episode. I don't know what Twitch is doing, but somehow it stops broadcasting, and we've got several broadcast episodes on Twitch that I need to merge on YouTube. So I don't think that's on my part here, but it's Twitch that is doing weird stuff. I think. I don't know. Stefan says I passed. Gyro ahead. Yeah, thank you so much for the donation, man. Wow. Thank you so much. That's really, really encouraging and helps me to pay for flight tickets that will get me to Flight SimCon in June. And hopefully I can meet some of you guys that are also planning to visit. But I'm also very much looking forward to meeting Frugal and the PilotEdge developers, Keith, but also A2A Simulations developers. So thank you so much for letting me know that I'm well, really have an added value to your flight simming experience there. So thank you so much, Gyrohead. Yeah, so that's about it. So guys, I think I have passed for this flight, I guess. No real big troubles. It went very smooth, good engine management. So I'm very, very, very pleased. Next up, what we're going to do next up, I don't know. In my future episode, yeah, I should turn off this flight test overlay here. Yeah. Yeah, so for flight, so we're currently at Apple Valley. What are we going to do next? Well, next up, since I passed for this daytime short range cross-country flight, next up is a night short range cross-country flight. Imagine doing that. So we need to pick again a short-range airport nearby, an uncontrolled airport near Apple Valley. Let me know on Twitter, on Facebook, or PM me on Twitch. What kind of uncontrolled airport would you like me to fly towards for my night flight test? Let me know, and we'll figure out how we're going to get there in our next flight. Guys, thank you so much for encouraging me, for your follows, for your donations, and looking forward to seeing you next time in episode 20 already, when we're going to do our night-based short-range cross-country flight. Guys, happy flights at home and blue skies. Bye.
I'm passing through 500, Chinook 715.
715, 134.125.